Hello, haven't seen you in a while. Sorry about that. So it is now April 2020. It is about 4 months since my last vlog, and obviously this is during a time of lockdown. I've been meaning to make this vlog for a while because in February I announced my Curacy, so if you follow me on Twitter you already know this news. And it's a slightly different vlog to what I had planned because I had hoped just to talk about Curacy, but you know, a lot's happened and lockdown has had some implications and things, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So how am I, and how was term 2 of year 3 of being an ordinand? Well, luckily, just as I predicted, term 2 was much better than term 1, and the two highlights really were announcing my Curacy and the army placement I've been on. So I've been a chaplain cadet, which is essentially an ordinand who is attached to one of the university's officers training corps. And this term, what got added to my roster was going away on weekends because I finally got a medical pass, which meant I could fully engage with everything available to me. Spending over 48 hours with the cadets was a serious challenge and a joy, and very much a different sort of ministry context to spending 2 hours on a drill night with them. It was certainly educational for me to spend time in barracks and to go on a field weekend and to sleep in a basher and to go on watch and all the sort of very army, running, jumping, climbing trees kind of stuff. Then of course there were the differences, of course, to what I was doing to the cadets, because I don't carry a weapon, and so a lot of the time I was standing by while they did various exercises. What it gave me was a great opportunity to get to know the staff as well, because it was important to me that I was champion cadet for the whole unit, not just the cadets. I've obviously also been doing my academics and handing in essays, going to lectures. I was very honoured to go and preach at St James's Piccadilly, where I was sent from, and that was a really beautiful experience on the first Sunday of Lent. So I'm sure some of you are screaming at me to tell you where I'm going for Curacy and to talk about that. I am so pleased to be able to say that I am going to be the assistant curate at St John's Hyde Park. It is an absolutely glorious community and a lovely church with a strong liturgical and musical tradition, and I have been so excited about serving there since it got confirmed. Now, lockdown has had some implications on what my Curacy looks like. On the ground right now, differences that lockdown have had are things like all our teaching has gone online, and we're doing worship online, and there's a no detriment policy from the university and all these sort of academic stuff. And of course we're all staying inside, all the university students have gone home. I'm very lucky that there's 3 of us still left in the house, so we're very much supporting each other. But it was announced quite early on, when social distancing became implemented, that the London diocese ordinations are going to be put off. So originally I was supposed to be ordained on the 4th of July and start work on the 5th, but now I am going to be ordained on the 26th of September. I am still going to move down to London in June. I am still going to start working at St John's on the 5th of July. I will just be a licensed lay worker rather than ordained clergy. And obviously that's kind of a weird situation to be in, and I'll walk through some of the things that have been going around in my mind. Now really, in practice, a lot of the things are going to be exactly the same because there's not a lot clergy can do that lay people can't. The main thing practically is the fact that I'm going to have a different outfit. Now, one really exciting highlight of this term was the vestments fair. Of course, I've gone to 2 of these already, but without contemplating my own ordination necessarily. So I ordered some stoles and some vestments and some clerical collars. Now for me, that's going to be the weirdest thing, because I come from a tradition where we do wear the collar. As much as there's not a lot that clergy can do that lay people can't, I still have a strong understanding of what it means to be clergy, and that collar represents that. So I think, you know, I'm going to have to work through and process the fact that I'm not going to be wearing it, and certainly the fact that I've already ordered some, I'm going to end up owning them and not be able to wear them for a few months. The last 2 vestment fairs, I didn't put one on. A few of my colleagues have been putting them on. I was always confused about this because I had this sort of strong understanding of what it means to see myself in a clerical collar. But this year I bit the bullet, and obviously I needed to try things on before I was going to order them. So I pushed myself. I said, put it on, have a look, and see what you look like in a clerical collar. Now this is the strange thing about the human condition. It seems like a small thing, it seems like a big thing, it seems like a small thing again. And it is a big thing and it is a small thing at the same time. So when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was like, yeah, it's an outfit, it's a top, it's a type of collar. And of course that's still me poking out the top of it. But now whenever I look at the pictures, it's like, oh look, there's the Reverend Elsie, and that concept, that change of identity is represented by that collar. I of course had hoped that this vlog would be a reflection on becoming a deacon, and actually that's not relevant right now. I will become a deacon in September, which is quite a way off. certainly a lot longer than July is. But I can still contemplate Curacy, just not what I expected. I am really looking forward to leaving Durham. I've loved it here, but I am looking forward to all the sort of upgrades I'm going to be getting. So from a practical perspective and a personal perspective, I'm going to be moving into a new house. I'm going to have a job and an income. I'm going to have more control over my time, and I'm going to be doing a lot less of the sort of things that I find frustrating whilst I know that they have importance in the big picture I don't want to be doing. AKA my essays. I understand that I'm going to be working, and work isn't always fun, and one does not always 100% always want to be doing what you have to do. But it's a very different big picture that it's playing into. The big picture of this essay is part of my training, and the ultimate goal of finishing my first stage of training is a different big picture to this piece of work that I might not 100% be up for, is actually part of the big picture of me doing ministry in a much more tangible and obvious way. I think that's one of the reasons that my army placement has been so incredibly important to me, because it is another one of those obvious, tangible examples of doing ministry in a way that it has had an impact for me, for my greater vocation. Now, I have to finish my army placement when I go into Curacy, and that is all well and good, and I'm going to be very committed to my Curacy and my parish work. But I've been incredibly enriched by my experience with the army, and I absolutely am going to be taking this on board when it comes to my decision making at the end of my Curacy as to what I want to be doing when I have freedom to choose what my ministry might look like. I'm not going to make this my end of being ordinand vlog. I'm going to make that as I move down, but there's an element that it's my end of placement reflection. I think as well as learning about the army specifically and what being an army chaplain looks like, I have learned a lot about myself as a minister. I've learned a lot about what context means when it comes to ministering to people, and I've been really affirmed in some of the achievements I've had the opportunity to get whilst with the army. So if you're watching this during the 2020 coronavirus pandemic, let us all pray for each other, and I would ask that you pray for leavers at the moment, especially those of us who are ordinands, because there's a lot of tumultuous identity stuff that is happening for us in particular, alongside all the other tumultuous changes that are happening across the world. But overall, I'm really lucky, and I'm so looking forward to the future that is laid out ahead of me at the moment.